Good afternoon. Good afternoon. All right, I hope you're enjoying lunch. Feel free to eat while we have a few speakers this afternoon. This is always one of the most fun things at the championship. We get the biggest and the brightest stars in the universe all into one first room together, so it's always a pleasure. Yeah, give yourselves a round of applause. So there are probably some parents in the room, and if your kids are anything like my kids, you have no clue what's going on in their life and what this means. So I'm going to give you a little background of what being a First Dean's List finalist actually means. The First Dean's List Award recognizes first participants' exemplary passion and effectiveness in achieving the mission of FIRST. And so what's the process? It's pretty impressive. After being nominated by their peers, a panel of judges from industry, government, and education select the finalists in this room, and ultimately the winners from thousands of FIRST participants. So you represent the creme de la creme. So congratulations for all your hard work getting there. A special thank you to the First Tech Challenge and First Robotics Competition Selection Committees. They worked really, really hard and read a lot of essays about you. They spent a lot of time, so let's give them a round of applause for their work. And I'm Blair, I work for FIRST. I just need to apologize. I'm from New England. It's been a long winter. My legs are really white. So if there's any shine, that's the problem. But First Stronghold is in the house, so we're sort of all embracing the theme. We have a few speakers this afternoon, and they are so impressed by you that they wanted to be here and sort of share their love as well. Our first speaker has, well, a very personal message about the reach, really, of your commitment, both what you've done so far and what you're going to do. It has impacted his life. Please welcome the Vice Commander of the Air Force Recruiting Service, Colonel Marcus Johnson.
So first of all, thank you for, Dean, Don, thank you for giving me the opportunity to be up here in front of all you wonderful people. This is a great honor for me, definitely a privilege. I've gotten to do a lot in the United States Air Force in my 26 years, but this is definitely one of the coolest things I've ever done. So thank you for this opportunity. I just want to say, really, congratulations to everybody in the room. So this is truly, you guys should be really honored to be here and to be recognized for all the hard work you've been doing, your sacrifices, your dedication, and everyone's a winner. That's what I want to tell you. In the society of, oh, everybody gets a trophy? No. Everyone in here gets a trophy, okay? So this is truly amazing. So give yourself a round of applause. So my message is pretty simple, okay? I want you to chase your dreams. I want you to be ferocious. My current boss is a 2-star at the Air Force Recruiting Service. He talks about lions and how ferocious they are and fearless they are. That's what I want to see, and that's what I do see in many of you out there. So be passionate, be ferocious, and go chase your dreams. The worst thing, and I'll just tell you, because I do have some regret in some of the things I didn't step out and do, but what I would tell you is you don't want to be this old guy up here and have regrets, okay? So be fearless. Go chase your dreams, okay? So I will share a personal story that happened to me, and you will understand why I love robots so much, okay? So back in 2011, I was selected to go deploy to the Middle East, and I got medically disqualified. So the doctor they do a head-to-toe physical, and it was determined that I had prostate cancer. And so after I got up off the floor, it's not a downer, right? It's not a downer. It's just the journey that I've been on, okay? And so the doctor gives me options of treatment, and one of them is a robotic surgery. Robotic surgery, right? Way to go, right? So I was in love with a robot before I knew about FIRST. So let me just tell you, I really loved that robot. So, but after the surgery, obviously I'm doing okay, and as of last week, was cleared. So I'm all good to go. Thank you. So why that's important is because whoever invented that robot, they chased their dreams. They made a difference they obviously made a difference in many people's lives, but for me, you know, there's making a difference, and then there's being the difference, okay? And so for me, it's very personal because that inventor of that particular equipment was the difference for me, okay? And you guys all have the ability. I see it in you guys when I walk the pitch. You guys have all the tools to not just make a difference out there in the world, but to be the difference for someone's mother, father, son, daughter, okay? So that's the importance of chasing your dreams, okay? So I will tell you, congratulations again to everybody. In the Air Force, our motto is aim high. So I will tell you, aim high and keep going. Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel. Great words, great advice. Also aiming high and also being a leader, just like you are leaders amongst your peers. We have a leader at FIRST. He sits in the corner office. He's the puppet master, the president of FIRST. He gets to make all the big decisions, but he also gets to see a lot of the glory. And part of the glory is a room filled of really bright students. Please welcome the president of FIRST, Mr. Don Bosey.
So first of all, no one told me it was cool outfit day. The story from Colonel Johnson and how robots really do change lives is just amazing, and I really appreciate him sharing that story with us all. So it's such an honor and my pleasure to be here today to welcome all of you. And Blair talked about the process by which you became Dean's List finalists, Dean's List winners. But I want to go back and reemphasize one really, really important point. The whole process began by your colleagues and teammates choosing to nominate you for this award. Why is that important? I always say leaders lead only because others choose to follow. And what you've demonstrated to your colleagues and team members is that you've got that inherent ability to sort of help pull people together when times get tough, to sort of create clarity from confusion, and to create that spirit to carry on. So if nothing else kind of sinks into you, the fact that your teammates and then your mentors chose to recognize your amazing potential as leaders is just something that I think is fantastic, and please give yourselves a round of applause for that. Now, Dean is a sneaky character, if you haven't figured that out already. And so part of this is we've now identified amazing leaders who soon will become part of the FIRST alumni organization. Next year, you're going to be coming down onto that overcrowded stage at the end of the welcome ceremony. And so part of what we hope is that your experience in FIRST has helped shape and transform you, and that not only will you continue to display those leadership characteristics within your team next year and beyond that, but you'll become a true leader in our alumni community and an advocate for FIRST to help us get FIRST programs accessible and available to every kid in every school in every corner of this globe. That's why we look to leaders like you to make the future even brighter. Now, this room is full of amazing people. Of course, we've got the Dean's List finalists and winners, and we're here to celebrate you. And there's just like so many other amazing people in the room that if I were to recognize them all, we'd be here till Christmas. So we're not going to do that. but I do want to call out a couple people, little groups that are really important that are in the room. First is we have some of our past Dean's List winners that are now part of the Alumni Association here that helped put this together. Let's see them raise their hands and stand up and give them a round of applause. Secondly, if you have not heard this ad nauseum at your First events, let me say it again. First has an amazing scholarship program. This year, over $26.7 million are available and accessible to the seniors in First who are going on to college next year. That amount, and hopefully more, is going to be available to you next year when you're seniors. And I think you know our tagline, apply, apply, apply. But here in the room, we've got several of our platinum and gold level scholarship providers. Let's give them a huge round of applause for making a ton of money available to them. We also have our crown suppliers from the FRC Kit of Parts. We have our strategic partners who help First in many directions every day. And we have our founding sponsors, without whom this organization would never have existed in the first place. Let's have them stand up in a huge round of applause. And lastly, we want to say thank you to Southwest Airlines and WPI for two really cool gifts that this year's Dean's List winners are going to receive. So thank you both to Southwest and WPI. There's also one really special person who unfortunately is not in the room with us today, but she is very much part of the power and passion both behind First and behind the Dean's List. And her name is Evelyn Kamen, and she gave birth to an amazing son whom she continues to support in every way possible, including working as a Dean's List reviewer and reading all your applications with a huge box of tissues next to her because you blow her away. She's not here, but she's here with us in spirit today. So a huge round of applause for all that Evelyn Kamen has given us. So now it's the most fun part of the program. I get to introduce three people from three amazing universities. And I will tell you, these universities do not have to go out and recruit very hard. In fact, if you look at their statistics, they get way, way, way more applications than they could ever accept. In fact, one of them I was talking to over at Scholarship Row across the street yesterday, and they said, we don't ever go to college fairs. This is the only college fair we go to all year. And at least I know I'm not lying because the dean of admissions for that school just nodded his head yes, so it's true. These are schools that do not need to go out and beg for students, but there's one room and one group of students that they're actually willing to come in front of and beg for your attention. So again, that speaks to the power of First, the value of First, and the awesome potential of the people who are in this room. So it's my pleasure to call up onto the stage the Dean of Admissions for MIT, Mr. Stu Schmill, the Dean of Admissions and Financial Aid at WPI, Mr. Andrew Palumbo, and on behalf of Jeremiah Quinlan of Yale, the Senior Assistant Director of Admissions for Yale, Ms. Hannah Menlowitz.
Don. So I'm Stu Schmill. I am the Dean of Admissions at MIT, and it is a real pleasure to be here. I love First, and it is true. This is the only college fair that we staff, and it's because we really want to get to know you because we know how special you are. Now, I am not only the Dean of Admissions at MIT, I am also the coach of my daughter's FLL team. Yes. am also a very loud cheerer for my older daughter's FTC team. So that's awesome. So this past year, my daughter competing in FLL, they had their little robot that actually did pretty well this year. It was really very, very good. But they were on the board, and their robot was working. They finished the match, and at the end of the match, the judges had given them more points than they had actually gotten. And they went up to the judges and told them that they needed to lower their score. Now that is the kind of thing that happens at first, and I have to believe only at first, right? I mean, to me, that just says it all. That kind of gracious professionalism. I mean, that's really what it's all about. So I am at MIT, and I will just tell you, again, being here, you are all my people. This is it. We are the mothership, and we want to call you home. Because there's an enormous amount of research and all of that going on at MIT. But the real magic of the place is that it's filled with people just like you. Students who make those around them better. Because that's what we're honoring here with the Dean's List. Are you who you've been nominated by your teammates because they feel like your presence on the teams have made them better and made the work that you do better. And there is no better characteristic for you to take with you through your lives than that. And that is exactly the kind of thing that we want to fill MIT up with. And it's exactly the kind of thing that this world needs. So I want to congratulate each and every one of you. And I look forward to meeting you as we go along. So please come up and say hello as we go through the weekend. And wish you all the best of luck. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Andy Palumbo, Dean of Admissions and Financial Aid at WPI, and I'm thrilled to be here. This is my first, so I am thrilled. That's right. My wife is asking me, what could you possibly be doing all day? I'm like, you have no idea. It's incredible. So she continues to be excited, or at least tells me she's excited about how thrilled I am to be here with all of you. So leadership, passion, dedication to FIRST and its ideals. That's what the Dean's List is all about. And FIRST is about inspiring future leaders of science and technology. I see it with a fresh lens. I see all of the people that you inspire already and that you'll continue to inspire. You probably inspire more people than you even know. I mean, just getting off the airplane in St. Louis, I hop in a shuttle, and the shuttle driver is saying, any of you here with FIRST? The robotics competition, it's incredible. These students are coming, they've got gadgets, they got robots, they're the smartest kids in the world, and they're coming here to St. Louis. She was thrilled. It was like 10:30 at night, and she's just rolling through this. Everyone's sort of like, what is she talking about? And I'm just sitting in the back nodding with a big smile on my face. So, there's her. There's my 2-year-old daughter, Cecilia, who's at home, who I am sending pictures and videos to constantly. She's obsessed with robots. And I can only hope that she continues that passion because she is inspired by everything that you all are doing right now. And I really genuinely hope that she gets the opportunity to join this community. Lastly, there's myself. I hope you guys can tell by my excitement how much you all inspire me. I wish I had known about FIRST when I was in high school, but now that I know, I can't get enough of it. And that's really, all of you are why WPI and our admissions team at WPI are so excited to admit FIRST students into our community because we know what we're getting. We know the caliber of the students that you are, but also the people that you are. It's why 10% of our entire student body is FIRST alums. It's why we are offering a free tuition to our summer program, Frontiers, to all of our Dean's List winners because of our commitment to the Dean's List winners and also FIRST. And so it's a great honor to be selected for the Dean's List, but it's also a great responsibility. And so the responsibility that all of you have is to continue supporting and helping First grow, supporting its ideals and your teammates, but also supporting as mentors, supporting people who are starting rookie teams for First. And I know you all live up to that responsibility. So thank you all so much for all that you do, and thank you for everything that you will do in the future.
All right, hi everybody. My name is Hannah Mendlowitz. I'm here representing Yale. I work in the admissions office. I'm the director of Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics for Yale University. And this is my second First. So I'm really happy to be here today. Congratulations to you all. This is a really wonderful achievement. I'm, standing here in awe of what you have already achieved, and obviously we're here today because we see in you all, everyone in this room, the potential to continue to achieve really great things in college. So just a really quick round of applause for yourselves for all of that. In the next coming months and over the next year, you are going to be hearing a lot about colleges. You're never going to get more mail to your house than in your junior and senior years. So you can look forward to that. So I don't want to talk to you too much about Yale here today, but I do want to recognize what a great community the First community is. And as I was thinking about that earlier today, I was thinking about ways that the Yale community is actually quite similar to the First community. So I thought of sort of three ways that these two places are really similar. The first is this idea of opportunity. And First has given you all the opportunity to not only learn a lot and push yourselves and challenge yourselves, but to become leaders amongst your peers, which is really cool. Similarly, at Yale and any other one of these colleges that are up here today, you're going to have a lot of opportunities to take really cool classes, work with professors who are doing very interesting work, do research, all of these things. So you've had some great opportunities now in high school, and you will be at no loss for opportunity, no matter which of these institutions you might be applying to, maybe all three. Secondly, I cannot help but think about the game this year without being reminded of the residential life at Yale. And if you've ever visited our campus, you know that our students live in castles, right? So as you're defending your castle out on the fields today and tomorrow, just think about the fact that if you apply to Yale, you could be one of those students who lives in a castle that has, iron gates, is surrounded by an actual moat. And for your 4 years of college, you could be defending that castle as well. And finally, and I think most importantly, just the culture of inclusivity is one that I really admire about First, and something that Yale takes very seriously as well. As I look around the room right now, I see some great diversity, and I know that in your First communities, you've been able to do things and have these experiences and take on leadership that maybe you never even knew you were able to do before. I think that's a great thing about First. It's also something that we really strive to do at Yale. I'm especially excited to see so many young women here in the audience tonight. Yes, let's make some noise, ladies. Yes. You all know that the world of technology and engineering is not a man's world, it's a woman's world too. And I know that as well, and one of the things I've really been passionate about in my role as Director of STEM Recruitment at Yale is a little thing at Yale that we like to call STEMinism. So everyone see this one? All right. So I want to make sure that you all know that if you come to Yale, it's really a place where no matter where you come from, what your gender is, what your background is, it's a place where you can feel at home and really learn to thrive as you have done here at First. So thank you very much. If you want to learn more, please come talk to me afterwards.
All right, thank you, Deans. Thank you for your support, for the university support over the years. And don't be shy, go and talk to them. It's a big couple years coming up. Now, we've had, let's see, 1, 2, 3 deans speak. You know, in the baseball world, the fourth position is cleanup. That's the guy you want to hit it out of the park while the three first guys get on base. So, I think we got a pretty good cleanup hitter on deck here. Please welcome the founder of First, our cleanup hitter, Dean Kamen.
Wow. It's amazing what the world will do if you give it the right opportunity. First, I have to thank the three deans. You should know I have a close affiliation, very different form with each of them and their institutions. Yale, last year, awarded me an honorary PhD at their graduation. So I'm now alum. A number of years ago, WPI, Worcester Polytech, asked me to be their commencement speaker, and they gave me an honorary PhD. So thank you very much. Those snobs at MIT don't give honorary PhDs. But I'm technically faculty and all, so, and we are very close to MIT because for one thing, you all know Woody, and by the way, Don, our president, in his former life, besides getting his bachelor's there and his master's there and his PhD at MIT, MIT is very well represented, and they've got a pretty good reputation, and we're just here to help keep it up by supplying good students to you. I have to make a comment which probably might be on the edge, because while we believe in gracious professionalism, we also believe in cooperation, and they're competing. Let's make no mistake. They are competing for all of you, and that should tell you something. So on the edge, I have to say, hey guys, you might be thinking, we have 200 universities involved with teams on these fields. We have Scholarship Row. You just heard Don tell you, apply, apply, apply. We're going to have something in the order of $30 million in scholarships to give out. And you could say, where are all the rest of them? So I have to tell you, there isn't a university we know of that doesn't want to have somebody up here. In fact, I kind of pushed and impromptu said, please let, Colonel Johnson from the Air Force come up here. And it's not because they let me fly a B-2 bomber on Tuesday, which they did. It's because I found out what an incredible commitment the Department of Defense and all of the Armed Force Academies are now making to First, and I figured we lure him in, he sees this, he's infected, he goes back, and the story continues. So, but you could wonder, why are there only those three? And I am a strong believer in respecting and taking care of people that respect and take care of you. And a long time ago in a faraway place, about 25 years ago, we started First. And yes, I went to a lot of big corporations and said, you got to help us. But it was a crazy idea. Everything new is always crazy. Everything new. It doesn't matter what it is. Electricity was crazy. And everything that goes from indefensible to indispensable goes through a transition where everybody says it's crazy and it'll never work until everybody says it's obvious. Anyway, 25 years ago, I couldn't get too many universities to help us. There was one I had a little leverage with, WPI. I spent the best 5 years of my life as a freshman there and never seemed to get any credits, but I was preoccupied by other things, and I got a great education. I just didn't do the degree stuff very well. But anyway, over the last 20-some-odd years, those three institutions have stood by us and helped us grow, and they've been models by which the rest have followed. But I've always thought they deserve a little special place. And if those other universities that are out there looking for you are a little jealous of them, that's okay. They'll work a little harder. And I hope that you'll accept it when we let a few more of them with a very high bar participate over the next few years as they step up and follow your model. But to all of you, seriously, these are 3 spectacular partners of ours, but there are plenty of others out there, and you should be looking at all of them. Somebody, I think Don, made the comment that my mom is here, which she is, but didn't come to this room. And he wasn't kidding about the tissues. Part of the reason she's not in this room is I really think it's protest. Because we sent her, as we have every year, all the candidate essays. And she read all the candidate essays. But she read them multiple times because she'd call me and say, I read them last night and I put the pile of the ones that have to win on this side and I put the ones I could eliminate on this side, and at the end of the night, there was nothing on this side. So she tried reversing it the next day and she got the same result. And she finally said, Dean, they all have to win. And I'd call her back and I'd say, Mother, they all will win because the universities probably feel about them the same way you do. We're trying to shave differences, but trust me, all the finalists are in the spotlight and the universities are looking for all of you. We have to make a slightly smaller group. It's a logistics issue, not a quality issue. But she really didn't want to come in here because she was afraid she'd have somebody introduce yourself to her, give your name, and she'd know it, and she'd remember the essay, and she'd break down. So she's out, she's watching, but I'd encourage you over the weekend to go find my mom. Anyway, now to probably the most serious part, and I'm glad that we have so many alums had come back. Thank you for doing that. But you need to know, and I don't really drink my own Kool-Aid. A lot of people compliment me on how First is going so well, and to me, I look back and all I ever see is things that could go better. At my own little company, I never win the popularity contest. People always say, Dean, we just did this amazing thing, and as soon as it happens, you turn to the look at your next project, and you don't even take 2 seconds to relax or say thank you. Sorry, there's a lot of problems. There's a lot of things I look at. Looking backwards is... So First has evolved in 25 years. And while our statistics are pretty staggering by most standards, I can't help but always be looking for how to make it better, how to fix things, how to improve things. And when I look back at some of the things I did, I can't believe how stupid I am. Let me give you an example. In the very first year of First, I wasn't stupid about one thing. I knew that if we make this competition, but the winners that we take to the White House, because even year one, I got the President of the United States back then, and I've said to him what I've said to the 4 presidents, 2 Democrats, by the way, 2 Republicans. I say the same thing to all of them. Please, don't help us. The last thing I want to do is turn First into some other example of a science fair, put it in a curriculum of a well-heeled school, and all it'll do is give advantage to the advantaged, the kids that already know the importance of science and technology. They know the excitement of it. I said, no, Mr. President, you have a bully pulpit. The federal government doesn't do a lot, really, to fund education at K through 12. That's mostly states and towns. What I said to each president for now 25 years, you do bring the winners of the Super Bowl and the World Series and the Academy Awards every year, and the public sees that, and they understand, we get the best of what we celebrate. So, Mr. President, I've said to each of them, bring the winners of the first competition to the White House, and let them have that same spotlight as you give the superstars of other sports. And I'm happy to say over the 25 years, they've all done it, did it again this year. But in that first year, getting that commitment from the president, I realized if I bring the team that gets the most points, that may or may not be the one that projects the best vision of what FIRST will be. Because for one thing, as you all know, we add a lot of luck to the games. We want the games to have some luck in them. That way, if you didn't win, you can blame the robot, blame the ref. It's like every other sport. So no, it's true. We put luck in it. You know, I wish they put some luck in that physics or math test. You know, I got a D. Well, yeah, no, Newton's law wasn't working that day. But anyway, so I said in that first year, I give myself credit for thinking some things right. I said, I'm not going to bring the one with the most points to the White House. I'll create an award called the Chairman's Award. I had just gotten a prestigious chairman of a major company to be our first chairman. I said, we're going to ask the teams to demonstrate that they really get the vision of the collaboration, of the network, of what FIRST ought to be, and they're going to have to prove it to us in some way through videos back then on things called VHSs, things you wouldn't understand. But it turned out it worked. And we did bring the chairman's winners to the White House, but every year thereafter we've maintained this incredibly high standard, and we know that all the people that participate in FIRST know, yeah, if the robot wins with the nice points, that's nice, but being in the Hall of Fame, which we have here, you do by winning a chairman's award. And it helps keep us focused on what's important. And every year for 25 years, the Chairman's Award continues to help identify what we believe in. By the second year, there was no Founders Award in the first year, only a Chairman's Award. We've given 25 of them. By the second year, I realized, how am I going to suck these big companies into helping me, or whole organizations? Because some of them aren't even eligible for a Chairman's Award because they don't have a team. In the early years, like, well, if FedEx is going to move every package that I asked Fred Smith to do, but they don't have it, how can I? So I said, I know, every year we'll give a Chairman's Award for the team that does best, but we'll give the Founders Award. That'll be somebody that we identify as helping us bring FIRST to its next level. And we've given 24 of those. And the community keeps growing. But I'm a chronic whiner and complainer, trust me. I mean, I'm out there. People know me. Uh-oh, I hear that sucking sound. Dean is in town. FIRST can't be far behind. So, FIRST is going and growing, and I'm frustrated that it's not becoming well known outside of our own community. We keep getting bigger and bigger and deeper into the schools, but we're not growing fast enough for me. Why? Because those two are good awards, right? Chairmans, founders, they're part of our culture. Why did it take 18 years? Because this is our 7th one. So in our 18th year, I'm sitting there thinking, FIRST is for one thing. It's for the kids. It's why we do it. It's why everybody does it, the mentors. And they're the biggest beneficiaries. And yet, there's no single prize that sort of directs them to become a long-term set of alums. The universities have got that nailed. They've got huge endowments, and before you graduate, they've got it in your head. At every graduation I've ever seen, the last word before they give you the diploma is, you're now officially alumni. Keep sending us more money. Tuition wasn't enough. So, and I realized we weren't doing anything that was specifically giving the burden of growing and maintaining our alumni to the only people to whom it matters most, the students themselves. And by far the largest army. We have, hundreds of universities, thousands of companies. We got well over 1 million kids. That's the strength. And by the way, as I realized that next to the Chairman's Award, by the way, and then we have, the Woody Flowers Award. We knew that took 2 more years, but finally we've been given 20 of those. Well, we got to recognize the mentors, got to recognize the company. But what are we doing specifically to build the strength of the network of alums? It was just dumb. So in our 18th year, as I realized we've got to come up with a special process by which we build into FIRST a way to strengthen and grow our alums, it occurred to me that my mom, as usual, was way ahead of me. I mean, she gave me the name Dean. I mean, that was a clue, right? And I went back to Vince and Cece, who I always go back to when there's, oh, I got a great new idea. That means a lot of work for somebody else. And I said, I know you help on this and you help on that, but we've got to create, you know, in schools, they create a dean's list. What's it really for? It's so that before the kids graduate and go away, they've identified in that school, in each class, kids that are going to make sure in 10 years the reunion really happens. They're going to make sure. Basically, there's got to be some structure and organization to the community of kids. And every school has its dean's list to identify the kids that are going to be the leaders, even among the leaders at the leading universities. So I scrambled that year, 7 years ago, and said, first, from here on in, every year is going to create a group of kids who have an obligation. Because everybody's been telling you, congratulate yourself, everybody's. As far as I'm concerned, you owe us. There's a lot of people here that have put in a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of energy to give you an unbelievable opportunity. But that's right. But we also know we have barely scratched the surface, the population of a few billion people in your generation that are growing up, most of whom have never had the opportunity you just had. And that's depressing to me. It's frightening to think that there'll be a generation of kids that grow up. Imagine what the world would be like if every kid your age, everywhere on this planet, has just come through this. Imagine how different the world would be. Well, your generation, as they take over this world, ought to be able to say that. But the only way they're going to do that is if we dramatically increase our network capability and our growth around the world. And so the reason we started this thing 7 years ago was, hey, the biggest army we got, the most connected people on this planet are the ones that grew up with Facebook and Snapchat. So why don't we have every team that ever participates have to identify somebody on their team that they believe has the leadership and the commitment to make sure that this first alum doesn't get diluted as you move on. It gets stronger. And by the way, while I said, yeah, you owe us, you know who will benefit the most if you succeed in creating a bigger and broader and stronger alum of firsts around the world? It's still going to be you. Because when you think about what these universities give you, they all give you an education, but they give you the magic handshake. Oh, you went there, and for the rest of your life, you're part of a network. You're a network of alums of this very prestigious institution or that one. Well, as far as I'm concerned, I look down scholarship row and say, yeah, you got 2% of them, and you got 2%, and we got them all. If the first alums around the world stayed together and when asked somewhere in a few years, where'd you go, what'd you do? Instead of I went to University A or B or C, I was first. You'll be able to go anywhere in the world and find people that were first, just the way you can now anywhere in this city today. But imagine a world where what ties people together was their experience and the philosophy and the attitudes that they learned and that we're spreading about gracious professionalism, about cooperation, about fact-based arguments, about teamwork that allows you to work really hard to have your robot win in this round and then help your competitor fix theirs before the next one starts. To tell the judge that you gave me too many points. So 7 years ago, I was dead serious, as I was 25 years ago when I said we're going to build this. But 7 years ago, I said to our people, I can't believe how stupid I have been, but I'm willing to change. I mean, a lot of people aren't. A lot of people love the way things are. I mean, one of my favorite quotes, George Bernard Shaw said, you know, the reasonable man adapts himself to his environment. The unreasonable man or woman expects the world to adapt to him or her. The rest of that quote is, and therefore all progress depends on the unreasonable man or woman. We've got a lot of those unreasonable people here, I hope. You're unwilling to live with what you're comfortable with or what we did yesterday or today. We have to change if we're going to grow and if we're going to progress. So 7 years ago, I said, we're going to make Dean's List the most impactful, important part of the growth strategy of Global First. Because the biggest army of the most well-connected people that hopefully have been selected by their peers to be the leaders, to be the showpieces that First is most proud of, are going to get this award, and with it comes a lot of privileges. The universities are fighting over all of you now. But you do owe us. Mostly you owe to people in your generation, and maybe the ones just a little behind you. I think in return for being identified as Dean's List, synonymous with leadership in schools, that's the name they use, in return for that, we've asked each group over the last 7 years to commit to stay involved, to keep their own alum organized from their own community, but to network with each other, both from within their year, and we'll invite you this summer up to New Hampshire, as we have every year in the past, to see how you're doing, but to also network backwards now. The new ones of you can network back 7 years, so 3 of those, you can be talking to the people a year or 2 or 3 ahead of you that are in college now. You can start talking to some that are in grad school or out in industry. This should be the most effective tool that First has to spread what I think is a message and a program that the world is in desperate need of. I will continue to be a pain in the you-know-what to every company and every foundation and every university and every political leader to help us. I don't win popularity contests. People do know I'm coming and he's going to ask for more. I am willing to do it, and I think most of them are willing to support us because they see the results. But frankly, when you look at us on a global scale, the results are hard to see and hard to hear once you get outside of our tight-knit community. And I think the major contribution of the collective Dean's List community, the fair return to the Dean's List, to the First community that will follow you, is that you create this to be the most well-orchestrated, effectively networked, prestigious group of kids and soon young professionals that the world has ever seen. That's your homework. I hope you take it seriously. And if it works, you will have created for yourselves, I think, the most powerful tool you could have, that you can be proud of, and that you can share with the rest of the world. You're about to graduate. That really means you go from being somebody who's always a getter from your parents and your grandparents. You know, little kids get everything. As you become an adult, sort of the definition of adult is you start having to give. Your leaders, you're just accelerating the process. I'm asking you to start giving extra early because you've been getting something extraordinary. So I hope it's fun, and I know I get too serious. We can just all stand here and applaud some more and celebrate some more. But I'm asking you in all seriousness to commit to help us accelerate the growth of First by being our mouthpiece and our ambassadors around the country and around the world. And we'll all benefit from that. Congratulations, everybody.
Wow, nice. Dean always speaks with, well, there's a logic in there, and you follow that logic. It's dense. A lot comes at you, but just there's one little piece. Dean flew a B-2 bomber, you guys. What does that mean? He always does everything with a purpose, so I'm trying to figure out what is the purpose other than fun of flying a B-2 bomber. Maybe next year we'll find out. And maybe that's where Dean's Army comes in. Well, you guys are smart kids. You're in a room of smart people. You do well in school. You probably realize it's the 400th anniversary of Shakespeare's death. So I thought I'd leave you with a smart quote for smart kids, and it explains the kilt. I used this morning on the mentors, but for you, it's actually even more pertinent. All the world's a stage, and all the men and women are merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man or woman in his time plays many parts. Becoming a Dean's List finalist or winner is just one of the many parts that you play in this life, and we are looking forward to seeing what parts you're going to play next. So congratulations to all of you. And just a little bit of housekeeping before we close up. Thanks for coming. Thanks for all your work for FIRST and being the leaders that you are. We want to thank all our speakers today, our special guests. Thank the finalists, the winners, for all their work. We hope you enjoyed today's lunch and celebration. And we're going to give you your next test of sharing and gracious professionalism, and that the popcorn, here we go, the B2.
Something more powerful than the B-2 just arrived. I just heard, Mom is in the back of the room.
Hey! Evelyn Kamen is really FIRST's secret weapon. Your test for sharing and gracious professionalism comes in a minute, because on the table is a bucket of popcorn. There are only 60 of them, and there are 254 of you. So work that one out. We want to end today and ask all of the winners, the 20 winners, to come up and have a photo on the stage with Dean. And we want to thank you for all you've done for FIRST, all that you're going to do for FIRST, and enjoy the rest of the championship, everybody. Thanks for coming.